Thank you, everybody, for coming. We've been together for a lot of weeks now, right? A lot of weeks. And just want to thank everybody for all your coverage throughout the entire year. It's been a lot of fun, I think, for our entire community. And the coverage that you continue to provide for our community about us means a lot to us and obviously our community. It definitely puts Kalamazoo on the map, not only within state but nationwide. So thank you for doing that. We're excited for the Cotton Bowl. I mean, we've talked a lot about different things. Our preparation's going absolutely elite. Players are bringing it every day. They've continued just to grow higher every single day. The energy level, the focus, the spirit, it's all there, and it continues to get better. And at this time of year, you kind of have to find very unique ways to make it fun maybe at this point. Not our football team. We haven't been able to I'm not saying we're not making it fun, because it is fun, but we haven't had to be able to simulate that or get some type of false fun. We haven't had to do that. It's been absolutely amazing. The maturity on this football team is at an all-time high. It's been fun to see. So they're working their tail ends off. Got a lot of work to do. Got a little break coming up here for the holiday over Christmas. Give them a few days, and then right after that, we'll leave out for Dallas. We're very excited, obviously, as many of you are as well. It's a wonderful opportunity for Bronco Nation, the university, our city of Kalamazoo, to be on a national stage at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, which, again, we're very, very proud to represent the Mid-American Conference in, and also the Group of Five this year. So with that, we'll open up for questions.
Coach, I know you're doing a lot of recruiting this time of year.
Sure.
Think back to 3 years ago when you were starting to make calls on young student athletes. How was it different today making those phone calls than it was 3 years ago?
I'll be honest with you, Al. We don't necessarily sell the result. We don't sell that. We haven't sold the result year one. We haven't sold the result year four. If you're going to buy our football team just because of the W or the wins or the Cotton Bowl, you're not for me anyway. So the phone calls, I'll be honest with you, are pretty much the same. It's selling a vision. Remember, because what we're doing now, it matters, but it really doesn't matter necessarily for the kid that's not here. And he's going to be here for the next 4 to 5 years after this, okay? So where are we going then? Forget what we're doing now. It's great. It's great national coverage. I think more people that we talk to know about us and they know what we're doing, but just because of that, we're selling the next 4 or 5 year vision. It's not now. It's not what happened last year. It's forward, and that's what we'll continue to do. But the building of relationships, Al, hasn't changed. We're going to continue to get the right people and the right how into our culture, and I enjoy meeting a lot of those families when we're doing that. And it's a lot. I think you're not selling as much, I think. We never really sold anything. We've just taught people our vision. And if you want it, great. If you don't, then that's okay too. But there's only a certain amount of people that fit with us too, Al. It's not like just take everybody just because he's a great player and he likes us because we're going to the Cotton Bowl. It takes a certain person for everybody to work with in sync and cohesiveness in our culture by rowing the boat. So, again, it's made us, more of a national name. But other than that, Al, I'll be honest with you, we continue to push forward our culture and getting the right people for the next 4 or 5 years.
You guys are the perceived underdogs, but some are pinning it as a David versus Goliath type matchup. Is that a fair assessment of the task you guys have ahead?
I think the way that you're looking at it from outside in perspective, probably. It's the way people are looking at it. I mean, from our media standpoint, media coverage, I can see why. But from our four walls, just like we've talked all year, we're not looking at it that way. We play with a crack on our shoulder, not a chip, the entire year, no matter who we play. So we're always constantly the underdog because within our culture it expects us to be the underdog because you got to change your best every day. And you got to be better come Saturday than you were when you got done playing on the previous Saturday. So to be able to have that type of drive to become a champion, I think you have to have that will, that unconquerable will, that drive every single week that an underdog usually has. So we've had the underdog role for the last 4 years. So for us, it's not going to. I don't think it's going to get us more motivated, undermotivated. I mean, that doesn't matter. We need to be the best football team we can be on January 2nd. We can't control anything else, Nick. Can't control anything else. We've got to take care of what we can control, and that's all we'll continue to do.
Coach Cathy's talked in weeks past about ongoing negotiations with you with contracts and things like that. Can you give us any update on that situation?
Yeah, it's going. It's not as easy as, hey, here's a piece of paper, just sign this real quick. Maybe that was a standard contract back in the day when you get your first job. But I want to take care of my assistants. I want to take care of Western Michigan University. I want to make sure everything's fair for both people. But there are ongoing talks. We're closer than we were last week, but it's not going back and forth like, well, I don't want this. Well, you said this. That's not what's happening in it. My focus is on our entire football team. What I do not want to happen is the focus becomes PJ Fleck's contract. That is not what I want in this whole thing. My focus from day one has been on these players, including the last 4 weeks has been on these players. And I will not back down from that. It's on them. Now, if we can get it done before the bowl game, great. If we can't, that's fine too. But my point is I'm doing it at a pace where it's all about our players. And if I've got to pick game planning or doing something else for our players and our team and our coaching staff, if I got to pick something, I'm going to pick that first, then worry about a contract. So I'm not necessarily worried about that. We've got a job to do, and we've got the biggest game coming up in program history and one of the most exciting games, and we're going to make sure our players are ready for that.
Coach, getting back to Wisconsin, you've had a chance, obviously, to break down tape on them. What do you think their biggest strengths are, and are there any weaknesses that you think that you
I don't think there's any weaknesses, to be honest with you, Al. You don't get to number 6, 7 in the country and have a ton of weaknesses. I think the biggest thing for them, when you look at it, their strengths are Coach Wilcox deserves a lot of credit, and this is very broad. If you want me to get more specific, I can, but I'll be honest with you, their entire defense. They have played to their defense the entire year. That's what they do. I think there's one team that has scored more than 17 points on them all year, and that was Penn State in the last game. And you saw how the first half went. They dominated the football game. Right? Then Penn State hit 3 big pass plays over the top, and the whole program or the whole game changed. But other than that, you look at their offense, they are just going to wear you down. They're going to run the football. Clement's a really good tailback. Their quarterbacks are extremely accurate and extremely efficient. They're the biggest team we faced all year and one of the most aggressive teams. And their special teams, the kicker they have, he's the best kickoff guy, I think, in the country. Definitely by far the best we've seen with this hang time, plus where he puts it and their coverage. So as we're catching it, he's got a 4.2 hang time on the kickoff. We're catching it 2 to 3 yards deep. But now instead of them being at the 30-yard line running down, now they're down already at the 15. Okay, and that takes, if we're going to bring it out, we better block it up right. They force you to almost play perfect. They do. They really do. We've got to play our best game of the year. Why? Because it's the next right step. But we've got to play one of our better games, and that's just we've talked to our players about that. It's no surprise. We've talked to our players about that with Toledo and then Ohio. We've got to continue to play our best football moving forward. But it's a credit to Coach Christ and his entire coaching staff, Joe Rudolph, their offensive coordinator, who is a GA with me at Ohio State, and then Coach Wilcox, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. They have an incredible how and will, and it's going to be a wonderful matchup, and we respect them wholeheartedly. They're the best football team we've played all year.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about, I know it's hard to reflect at this point, but there's been a number of coaches at Western Michigan University in the past, and you're now in that line as well, but taking the program where it's not been taken before, do you reflect on the history from a coaching standpoint? I mean, there's been some big names that have come before you here. I mean, what are your feelings on the coaching history?
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm very, obviously when I first got here, Coach Doolittle and I were very close. We met numerous times. One of the most famous coaches here at Western Michigan University, won a championship. Everybody remembers him. And he was just pure-hearted. He was just such a warm person to be around. He brought the best out of you. And he didn't really know me from Adam. But he was so gracious to me, and you could tell how much Western Michigan University really meant to him and the city of Kalamazoo. I think even Gary Darnell, the amount of success he had as well and the championship runs they had of getting to the championship. Coach Uzelak, who's at a high school here in Benton Harbor, and he'll come out to practice and be around. I love being part of that background of Western Michigan and that tree, the Harbaugh tree. And you talk about a lot of names. I know that there's a cradle of coaches in our conference, but we've had some pretty elite coaches as well come through here. So I'm very honored, to be a part of that history. But I can see why so many coaches want to be here. And I can see why so many people want to develop a culture here and develop a program here, because it's an incredible place to live. It's an incredible university. And, you can get the type of kids that I think you can win championships within the 6-hour radius, and then expanding out for other players as well. But like I said, it really is an honor to be mentioned, just with those coaches. And that was from day one, though, too, Corey. That wasn't just because we're going to the Cotton Bowl. That was day one. And I loved how all of them had something unique and different. Doolittle wears cowboy hat and his bow tie. And I did that year one. I didn't wear the cowboy hat. but I wore the bow tie for him, you know. So I'm one to always embrace your past to create your future, and that goes in coaching as well. And very honored to represent even them and their families, whether they're here with us or not, or you know, I'm honored to represent all their entire families that are continually living, or like I said, for them just to be able to have me represent them on a daily basis at Western Michigan.
Is there a cowboy hat in the future? One of the right state for it.
I love cowboy hat. I love country music. I will say that. I have plenty of cowboy hats in my repertoire. You just haven't seen many of them. So.
Yeah, something about with Frankie Ballard, and then we saw Terry Crews on Talk Show flexing his pecs.
I had nothing to do with that.
But has Tim Allen reached out, or any other notable alumni that given you a vote of confidence?
No, I mean, Frankie Ballard's pretty notable. Terry Crews, but no Tim Allen. But I will say that, you know, we've had a flood of support from a lot of people. It doesn't have to be a famous person or a famous singer or an actor. From an enormous amount of people. If you saw my mail on a daily basis now, it looked like year one negative, right? There are stacks and stacks. You know, I'd say over 50 to 60 pieces of mail a day come to me. I get back to every single one of them. They deserve that. With a note from me, they deserve that. And that's the way I've always done business, and I'll continue to do business. And whether that was one rolling in every week a few years ago, or 54 years ago, when the other way, or now. But I think everybody, you know, wants a piece of this, and they deserve a piece of this. If you're an alum, or if you're a fan of Bronco football, or you live in this area, live in this state, we can provide a lot for you. And you know, so again, we're very honored for the exposure we've gotten. But again, it's a wonderful place, and I'd love to be able to see when we have success, people come out of the woodwork. I want them to be able to say, okay, well, I haven't worn my Western Michigan sweatshirt for 20-some years, but now I really want to wear it. And not only want to wear it, I better get a new one because this one's really old. I want that, you know, and not only do I want that, but I want that to stay.
Jay, what lessons from the Potato Bowl and the Bahamas Bowl do your staff take in terms of preparation against this competition?
Yeah, I think the biggest word you've heard me say all year is maturity. We weren't very mature 2 years ago at the Idaho Potato Bowl. There were a lot of turnovers. We were careless with the football. You could see that. You could see what we did in the regular season this year. We took care of the football, and that was a change. Even last year, I think the preparation was so different. It's so awkward at times because of going to a different country to prepare. You really had to know your football team inside and out. And there were some things that we experimented with last year that worked out. We felt like that was a positive, and there were things to say we won't do that anymore. And then you just kind of blend them all together. This is even different. You'd like it to be a bowl game every single year on the same date and just continue to see what works and what doesn't work and make it very consistent, but that's not the case. Now we play almost a whole 10 days later than we even did last year, and there's a Christmas break built into there. There's finals built into there. Now you're going to practice them till Wednesday, then you're going to let them go home for a little bit just to be able to have holiday season. Then the day after Christmas, you're going to get them back on the plane and head down to Dallas for a whole week prior because you want them to experience different things. But one thing we did learn is we want our players to experience the bowl. We always want that. We don't want anybody to ever sit there and say, you know what, I don't want to go to a bowl because, gosh, it's just practice after practice. We can't do anything fun. We have a lot of rules. I will say that. There's a lot of rules and stipulations that you cannot do when you're on a bowl game with us, but there's a lot of things you can do, and we make it really, really fun for them. The events we have planned Monday through Sunday are incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. These events are just once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, and we want to continue to provide that for our players because life's about moments and memories. So I think taking a mixture of all those things, the maturity part, the experiencing, you know, Nassau when we were there, and now being able to experience, you know, the Dallas area and Arlington area, but also do some really unique things when we're down there will be a lot of fun for us.
You're a big JFK guy on the heels of what you just said. What do you have planned that's fun? I know you guys are going to go to the Monday Night Football game. Are you going to make it to the Plaza as well with the team?
I don't know if we'll actually make it to the Plaza. There's a lot of things that are in there that I don't know if we'll actually make it there. I will probably go back, to be honest with you, somehow, some way. But there's a lot of choices, and we picked some other things in there that I think they'd enjoy. I can't say they'd enjoy a lot more, but I think they'd have a better experience if we did some other things that was on the list that we didn't even necessarily think we'd have a choice of, that we're like, oh, we definitely can't pass up on that. They would love that. So I don't want to get into all of it because we still have some secrets for our players. I don't like to just tell everything we're going to do. So, you know, I want them to continue to anticipate, but trust us that things are going to be done at an elite level. So, but, yes, you are right. Monday Night Football, we could talk about that. Take them to the Lions-Cowboys game. Just the first night they actually get there, get to go to Jerry World, and you get to see how loud the stadium is as a fan. You get to see all aspects of it. So, again, there's a lot more teaching involved in that than just watching a game. You get to be able to see how loud from the stands it is and be able to just kind of break the ice a little bit of just the awe of the whole place, because it is massive and it's breathtaking.
Coaches talk about the goals, giving them an opportunity for extra work with their players. How much of the extra practices have been about keeping you sharp, and how much has been working with your younger players?
Yeah, after the MAC championship, Al, it's a great question about practice. After the MAC championship, we gave our starters off 5 days. So we practiced the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday that next week. The Tuesday, Thursday was just young guys. All right, so you basically got another whole spring ball practices from this point forward, which we've used every single one of them. We end every practice with our young guys scrimmaging. Not full contact at times. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But our young guys are getting a ton of development. But once we got that first week done, those 2-3 practices done, we got our starters back involved. And we've had individual type practices where a lot of the practice has been indie. We've had some scrimmage practices, which we stayed up, but scrimmage type, game types experiences. And then we've worked on a lot of our fundamentals and our details. But our young guys have basically had, I think today was practice 7 or 8, and they've practiced every single day. So it's 7, 8 practices already you've gained in spring, and we need that because we're going to have a pretty young football team on different aspects, or I should say different positions that they've got to grow up very quickly. So the extra time really helps, and that's why you really want to go to a bowl game as a coach. Yeah, you want to get out and you want to go experience different places, but you want those practices. They're invaluable. If you think of a freshman, that comes in, he gets 15. I mean, he's going to get 60 extra practices throughout his time here. That's incredible. Right? That's incredible. And then if he's there another year, it's 75 type practices. Right? Those are invaluable times to learn and grow.
You mentioned your team not thinking of themselves as an underdog. Having already beat 2 Big Ten teams this year, do you think that gives your team an extra edge or an extra sense of confidence going into this match?
Well, we always take things in one-game seasons, right? And our team's done a great job of that. We've never said because this team beat this team, we should do this, or this score was this, so we should be close to this. With all due respect to any Big Ten school we've played, this is probably the best Big Ten team we've played since we've been here. And I will say that. They remind me of the Ohio State defense 2 years ago. They've got a little bit of the Michigan State offense last year. So when you start piecing these together, I like to compare them in my head of what does it look like when we're going to face them. But for our players, we've taken things as a one-game season, one day at a time. And that's all we're going to do. We don't make comparisons backwards for them or to them. They know they're going to play a really good football team, but we believe we're a really good football team too. And again, it's all about making ourselves the best team we can be come January 2nd.
Jeffrey, when was talk about the on-field accolades in the last month, Zach Terrell was named the NFF's Outstanding Scholar Athlete of the Year, had 16 academic all-MAC selections, and today 7 distinguished scholar athletes. Talk about what the student athletes have been offered this year.
Yeah, the biggest thing about our program is about serving and giving, and not just serving and giving to other people. It's serving and giving to all aspects of your life. We talk to our players. You got to imagine all these buckets sitting around you. Those are all areas of your life. There's a spiritual bucket, there's a personal bucket, there's a relationship bucket, there's an academic bucket, there's a football bucket, and every one of these buckets really need to be full. But if you're only putting so much into one bucket and letting that fill up, it's going to catch up to you when it catches up to you. We want our players to be elite in all areas of their life. So as you add one thing to one bucket, you better be adding one thing to all your buckets. And academics is obviously a major part of this. I think we're on pace right now, which hopefully we'll have some announcements here, to having a record GPA. Again, breaking our old record from last year. Again, 16 all-MAC academic selections, which is a program record. And then also 7 distinguished scholars, which is a record here at Western Michigan University. So again, my job as a football coach and our staff's job is to take these players from boys to men in all aspects of their life. So again, I know a lot of you, even year one, the whole focus was we're going to continue to be the complete player, the complete person, and look at our players as talented men, not just talented football players. So every area, our community service record, we broke that this year as well. So I'm so proud of our players for serving and giving themselves, making themselves better every single day, and then serving our community, because this is a wonderful community to serve. And you can see the power of people in our community when that does happen. You can see the philanthropy pick up. You can see everybody's excitement pick up. You can see the power of Kalamazoo when things like this are happening. And what we need to do is bottle this up and use this every year. No matter if you're 10-2 or 13-0 or 8-5 or 7-6, whatever it is, we've got to be able to understand this is becoming, right, a football community. And that's okay because it's not just football, right? It's the culture of the football program. I think that's very powerful, very powerful. And that's what excites me, Corey, about the future here is the ability to have that and sustain that, and not only sustain it, but make it better. So very proud of our players. They deserve all the credit there. I will say this, Jeff Stone and Stephanie in our academic department do a tremendous job where people have 15 different people that work for them, 15 different resources. We have 2. And what they do and all of our tutors and all of our faculty who work with us, it really is amazing what you can do when you come together. And I'm very proud of everybody for that.
Coach, can you talk about, obviously Zach's leadership on the field is well noted and well viewed, but from a scholarly aspect, from an academic standpoint, can you talk about him leading from the front so much on that? And I mean, obviously it's a master program and what have you, but from other players to see what can be done while still committing to the football team and everything else.
Yeah, well, Zach's one of those guys that all of his buckets are completely full, right? And then every day he dumps them out and then makes them full again the next day. And that's the type of kid he is and the type of young man he is. He's really grown tremendously throughout the last 4 years. One thing I'll say about him is he's an incredible leader by example, but he's also an incredible leader by how he says things and what he actually says. He's a man of his word. That's hard to find in 2016/17 as we get into the new year. It's hard to find, right? And we're, in the world that we're so caught up in the contracts and signatures and legal battles and all these things, when Zach Terrell says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And I think it's wonderful for our young people to come in and watch him do what he does. Because if he says he's going to pick you up at 7:33, it's 7:33, right? It's not 7:34, it's 7:33. He's a man of his word, and he's the way on the field as well. He's the way in his classroom with his professors as well. There's an assignment done. It's turned in on time, and it's turned into the best level he could possibly turn it in on. So he's one of those guys that is just it's fun to have around because he's been able to teach that 3 years behind him, and now even this freshman class that have come in that have got to know him, the standard of the culture. And you're representing me for the next 4 years as you come through this thing. So these are the expectations and the standards. So you master these now, and you pass those down after I'm gone. That's the leadership and the legacy. That's what happens when you become a legend. I think he's become a legend here, and his legacy will continue to grow with time because of what he's left, not just on the field, Corey. That's tremendous. It's the off the field, the things you don't have to do, that makes him an incredible man.
You think that'll replace Crazy Legs then? Zach's the legend?
Yeah, Crazy Legs will still be in there. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. When they build a statue of him somehow, some way, they're going to build feet that just go like this, right? You can be able to walk by and hit the feet, and they'll go like this. That'll be awesome. Yep. You got it. Row the boat. Thanks, guys.